Okay. This thing's still delayed. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can y'all hear me? Okay, I'm up here looking like Kevin Samuels. Okay, yeah, I was trying to find that. Appreciate it. The I guess to get us in because I'm using my check. It was not cooperating. All right, and also I couldn't get the other streaming to work. It was connected to go to the original stream on YouTube, and I had to start a new one.
Yeah.
So, uh, let's say if something can go wrong, it can. Okay. I know Donald was going to try to get on, but you got to baby do this.
All right.
Now my keyboard is not working. Boy, they say start before you ready, boy. That job is like everything like not acting right. I'm gonna grab a Red Bull like Kevin Samuels and make it work. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead. All right. So tonight I'm gonna play two pieces that were written um, right after the events 20 years ago, 1711. You remember where you were, what you was doing at that time?
Yeah, I was gonna say I was in first period band, and I remember my man, my homeboy, asked my other drum major of mine when I was at East Smith High School,
Uh,
uh, Chris
yeah.
Massey. He came in and he was like yeah, it was like some planes hit a building in New York. So like, we just thinking it's maybe just some something minor or whatever, something crazy, like nothing at the magnitude that we thought it was. And then as my second period was my English 4 class. And so like after we got through first period, when I went to my second period class, and it's like we knew stuff was serious because like we saw teachers. Well, the teacher went to like her phone to her office phone and was like on the phone and like put the phone down and like she was turning the TV on, and then that's where we actually watched it like live on the news, and then eventually, of course, they made everybody turn their TVs off. But yeah, I remember I was in first period band when I first heard about it, didn't think much of it. We went through with band class as it was. And then when I got to my next class, that was kind of when it was started to become real, that it was bigger than what we thought it was. And of course, being in Fayetteville and, with Fort Bragg, being there and, the largest military installation bases that we have, there was a lot of kids that, that were getting checked out of school, that day. And I remember vividly, I remember after school, because matter of fact, I saw the buildings collapse with my mom at Baldino's after school because she called and she actually came and like picked me up. So we was like, we're gonna go get something to eat. Or whatever. Went to Baldino's. I mean, we were sitting in Baldino's and watching on TV in Baldino. So it was kind of like a wild day. And then like, being let's see, I was a senior. Yeah. So it was the fall of my senior year. So being a teenager at the time, you didn't really know how to take it. I didn't have any parents that were military, but I know I had friends who had parents that were military. And so, a lot of them were scared. A lot of them would get parents are calling, getting checked out of school. Of course, Fort Bragg was on lockdown pretty much, from that day on. And but yeah, so I was a senior in high school when all of that went down that day. So,
Yeah, yeah, you was a senior high school that was trying to recruit. So that was my first like couple of weeks as a college director of bands. And I had training that day for purchasing. And I had to get up there at early in the morning. And then after I completed training, I know Ms. Reeves left this had an old TV that hooked up to, they used to have closed circuit cable. I don't know if people remember that, had coaxial cables that used to come out of the walls to the TV. So I put the TV on, and I remember walking in the room, and trombone TJ, I remember looking at, and I saw it was either the first tower collapse, and I just remember using some expletives, like, and I mean, honestly, I immediately knew what it was. Like that's, because my father being aviation, military, and knowing about airplanes, that's, there's too many parameters to be, in place to be able to even, for that to happen. And so I'm watching this unfold. You got sense of anger, and then immediately I had one of my line brothers. He was at Juilliard at the time. Another good friend who just left, was in graduate school, also in Columbia, in New York. And then I had an uncle who was in Manhattan. I was able to get in touch with him on instant messenger, and he was fine. He actually could see from his office building. And then I didn't get in touch with my friends and other family up there for like maybe 2 weeks, because I don't know, a lot of people remember, like the phones went out and people were trying to get in touch with people and contact people. So it was like a very surreal moment. So with the music, I think some of the students at the time were had a lot of people had mixed emotions. That was a time when everybody was feeling, spangly, for lack of better words. And it's sad that that tragedy like really brought us like closer in a lot of ways. Even where I don't want to talk politics on this, but I got to mention the political climate at that time. At that time, a lot of people that would see this wouldn't even know or remember how people thought that President Bush stole the election because of Florida. People probably don't remember that, the whole issue with the hanging chads and all of that. So his approval rating like went up after this event. Of course, then you had a conspiracy saying that, okay, it was intentional, get his approval ratings up and that type of thing. But a lot of people had mixed emotions. And then, for one particular piece, well, it was a national anthem was hearing in my head. And then I kept hearing the Tribute to America piece. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play it on SoundCloud. And I think I can probably pull up the score while I play it. And I guess you can look at the score while we you look at it. This won't be long. Definitely I still find a lot of errors. But the idea of coming to this piece of music was, I just kept hearing taps. So I kept hearing fourths. I use a lot of fourths and suspensions and stuff I write. And that's just something I do. Something that I hear. I don't think it's necessarily a habit. It's more so it's a number that I like in many ways, always like. And then I like the sound. I like the Lydian sound. But I kept hearing taps, starting it. And one of the things that I did with this one was I thought about that day, how I felt. And then by the time I wrote this, this was when finally people got in touch with loved ones or found out that they may have lost loved ones. I uh, I actually tortured myself in looking at one of those Time Life books. Got one of those Time Life magazines that had all of these graphic photos, and said, I want to sit and write this piece, and I just want to look at these photos. You know, a lot of images we don't see anymore, like, you know, with the people jumping, so desperate, you know, they were jumping out of buildings. And then thinking about, you know, how inhumane someone could just get on an airplane and with children and innocent people on board and do this type of thing. So I looked at that book over and over again and try to draw emotion into, you know, what I would write. And whew, man. And I mean, I did, you know, share some tears and some frustration. I was a much younger man. I was even thinking about like, well, what can I do? You know, should I, you know, enlist? Do I need to, you know, I need to do something, you know, while I'm looking at all of these pictures. And I knew I needed to stay in my lane. I said, no, all you need to do is write this music. That's what you need to do. You need to write music. You know, you're not um that you're not that guy, you know, to be you know, trying to do anything else. Um, let's see here. Okay. Yep. Is the score up?
Yes, up.
Okay. So I'm thinking very transparent, and when I'm first hearing this, I'm hearing taps while I'm having these images, and I'm hearing metal. So I have percussion parts kind of scraping metal. If you know, a lot of people have died, are still dying from you know, September 11th. You know, be the various illnesses or suicide that died even later after that day, because there was a metallic stench in the air. I even was able to visit the site after the towers had fallen. I went up to New York to check on my friend Dyron, and all of that, like the smell. You know, I wanted to try to capture all of that, but then, you know, have some other intent. But let me just play the music. Hopefully, it will play clearly through here. Let me know if it's not clear.
That's good.
Okay, it does optimize for sound then. All right. I'm gonna get good at this one day. Yeah. So I see Donald might have a little break. Uh-oh. All right. So I wanted to play, also wanted to play. I did a marching band setting of this. The marching band setting actually came before, because this happened in the fall. The marching band setting came before the full, concert band piece. And primarily that's um because it was a fall. That was the only, way we could play that. Um we'll find my windows. Okay, share.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So
Uh-huh.
when did you actually like start writing Tribute to America? Was it like that, that next week, that like that day you kind of start sketching in your head, or you know what I'm saying? Like that.
Mhm. Yeah, that
Was it something like just like, as the tragedy like started to like as you started to see just like the magnitude of like the tragedy did, all the different
Mhm.
like thematic material come to you.
Shoot, it was kind of like a dream. It was all a dream. But no, seriously, it was surreal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work on being open and talking, I guess, more so. Like, I know I'm on a podium, I speak more when I'm teaching a group, but I usually, I know I've shared with you and my student arrangers some of my processes, and some have seen, they're weird. Sometimes I just wake up in the middle of the night and just, I've stayed up without sleep for hours straight, and this was one of those moments where it's like, when I slept, it's like I kept hearing taps, and I
Hmm.
kept hearing that I just kept hearing. I just kept hearing that over and over again. I just kept hearing that motive over again. Um, and I just kept hearing that suspended force. So, um, me coming from like the evangelical background or the church, where they speak in tongues and pray. So I was hearing, uh the way I was feeling at that time. That was when, as I know one of my former students said, like, when I was saved on the medium. I was really, really like churchy, and so at the beginning for me, it's praise and worship. So it's like I'm hearing. I'm, so I'm hearing. So I'm hearing taps over just this. Okay, there we go. So I'm hearing that. Then it's like I'm going, and I'm just. I'm hearing. Then I'm hearing it. I'm like, I don't know if that worked. But I'm hearing other stuff like later in the song. So I'm hearing all. So this right here. So I'm hearing. I'm hearing harmonically at first. I'm not even hearing melodically. So I'm hearing like, I'm hearing tap. Hallelujah. So I'm hearing that. I didn't even know what I was wanting to do. And then I was hearing in my mind the setting of America the Beautiful. So I really wasn't hearing, it's sort of like everything is sound like garbage. When you're playing on it, but I'm hearing all of these ideas at the same time, but it keeps going back to this. It just keeps going. It kept going back to that. And while I was playing that over, just playing this fooling around the piano when I found it to sit at the piano. It became more like it started to make more sense. So I was looking at the pictures while I'm looking at the pictures. So now I'm hearing. And then I'm hearing this. So then I'm hearing that again. So I'm hearing that idea. So I said, okay, let me just see what that would do over taps. And then of course I'm thinking like, okay, do I need to do my research? Is this gonna be respectful? Is this disrespectful to taps? Is this, inappropriate? Is this, going about it the right way? Because I mean, of course, at the time I'm like 20-something-year-old college band director. I'm already panicking. So but what I was feeling and hearing is like I'm hearing heavenly voices of people that died. That's haunting. And I'm hearing, oh, say, can you see? So that's why I had that first motive. Oh, say, can you see? But I hit that be natural on purpose because that's actually, it's melodically wrong. Oh, say, can you see, because it's, we're talking about death. So you have that. I had a B, I kept hearing that B flat natural against that E flat.
Yeah, it's almost like it just creates that uneasiness too.
Yep.
Like you just want that, like that feeling of like, there's something, like it's almost like distress, like there's something wrong, like that, like you intentionally wrong because there's something wrong, like actually something wrong actually going on. Like you think it's going to dee dee da dee da dee da dee instead of dee da dee, it just goes to a whole nother place where you didn't think it was gonna go. So you think like it's wrong, but it's actually like, literally something wrong going on like in the world that you're like implying into the melodic and my harmonic parts of the piece. So yeah. Yep.
So yeah, so I guess I mean it's such a short piece.
Yeah.
See if it'll play real quick. And
Question. You hear me?
Oh yeah.
Are there any other songs that are written within this that you took ideas from or motives from?
Yes.
That we don't know about?
Yes. Number one, I'll start from the beginning. So, just like that unsteadiness that Prof. Chalmers was talking about, to get out of that, I kind of go get them in heaven, where I usually let the upper reeds take over, where I have this pattern here going.
Yeah, very angelic on that. Yeah.
So I had that coming on there. So right there, I'm hearing the words. So I think, well, my church background kind of brings me into words. I look into words, text. So I'm hearing over that, I'm hearing like, okay, we got to come out of this hauntingness. And I'm looking at like, okay, this rising of the spirits are going into heaven. So that's what that was for me. Mind you, that's still on it. That's still the same idea. So that's still the same thing. That's same ideas. It's almost like it's a drone, pretty much. That's just kind of droning over the all that throughout. And then I'm hearing, oh, say, can you see? Bum, bum, bum. And then it's like, ba da da. And then I have My Country 'Tis of Thee in there. So it's like kind of interlapping with that. My Country 'Tis of Thee. Then Stars and Stripes at the top. And to set it home, to send those dead home, I just was thinking like, okay, my eye is seeing the glory of the coming of the Lord. I have the trumpets playing that correctly, and then going into Home of the Brave. So that idea, let me see if it'll play real quick. Wrong cue. So you'll hear that coming up. Oh, say, can you see? My Country 'Tis of Thee, Stars and Stripes. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. That's the dead. And it said, Home of the Brave. So that's the
That's
dead.
dope.
My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. So I don't think anybody ever caught it. So it needed
No.
And Home of the Brave. So it literally says that. And I'm hearing a lot of errors. So at the time, I'm hearing that G pitch tendency. Oh my God. But it's like that. That's one of those risks as a writer. Like, man, people think, man, you can play that note, but like there's pitch tendencies and you're hearing that it's like stretching out of tune. But that was the only way it was going to work within that context and the musicians that I had. I think somebody else had a question. I'm not reading the questions in the thing. I'm trying to get my start before you're ready. Get out of my
yeah, Sean.
What's up, Doc? That was, of course, a wonderful arrangement. But I did have a question. That same motive, when you switched that "Oh Say Can You See" and you meant to do that on purpose. I don't know when your national anthem arrangement was written, but do you move that same motive? Whose Broad Stripes? I think that's where it starts at for in your national arrangement.
Okay, so that's the second piece for this presentation. That national anthem, I've been wanting to change it, but people like it. I wrote that national anthem. That national anthem is a September 11 tribute. That's why it's very melancholy at the beginning, and it starts on beat one. So like, because I don't want to be too long with this presentation, but I'll cover that one next, because that had a lot of symbolism and intention within that, the national anthem. And so one of those ideas was kind of taken to that. But if you notice, a lot of times the national anthem usually starts with 1, 2, bum, bum, bum. I just thought, oh, say, can you? And then the second time I changed the harmony. Oh, say, can you see? It's very depressing. It's very sad and melancholy, but I pull you out of it because it was at that time, that's what the feeling was. And I don't want to give away the discussion on that particular piece, but yes, that was in there. And then another, back to Tribute to America, one motive I did borrow was Carmen Dragon's motive. I think that's at measure I want to say measure 26. Carmen Dragon. So da dee da dee dam ba da da da. That's it. So that is a direct quote of Carmen Dragon's set arrangement of national anthem. Everything else is conceived. Even the first part of America Beautiful, when we get into that, this was really the fourth movement of a larger work. I just sketched out the first three and just never didn't finish it. But there's moments of silence, intentional moments of silence in the piece too. Oh, da, da, ba. And it's like some have conducted this and gone right into it, but if I were to publish this, I would say, please, at least give some pause before you go right into America the Beautiful, because I've never talked about the intention of it, because the intention was you're saying home of the brave and might not have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. Like, okay. And then that break. So that's a moment of silence. Then it's like, and then it's, into that piece, and real lush with that first chord. And then I take liberty with the word amber waves of grain. I'm not a singer. And then the next moment of silence is at 33, and that's the second moment of silence. Let me go here. So here's that moment of silence. Rough attack. So pause. So I'm like, his truth, and I'm hitting it.
Yeah, and then it's just like the ebbs and flows of like the emotions of it. Like that ending is very like heroic. Yep. It's very heroic, courageous.
Yeah, and so that like that last part, that there's another moment of silence before going into that, and then basically still to be reverence and thinking of those that lost their lives. And I wonder if Sean can get this one. What type of I know you hear that is Lydian. Of course, that's like the fourth mode, right? Of that's a Lydian mode there. But what kind of Lydian? You probably don't hear me. So that was a Lydian augmented. So the regular Lydian was right here. It's regular Lydian and Lydian augmented. So I was hearing something that was closer to like the whole tone scale. But not necessarily the full whole tone scale. Okay. Right. Was that any other questions in the chat, or I'm not looking at
Flip just said, please publish.
And then let's see, I'll play the national anthem and then kick down. I'm sorry, I didn't pull up the I'm trying to pull up the the score. Oh. Well, she don't work right. There we go. There we go. Have to zoom in, huh? Yeah. So that was a little bit more aggressive than Tribute to America, what I was thinking as far as writing. So at this point, I'm a lot of people thinking about revenge. People don't like admitting this stuff. You just wanted to get back at those that hurt us. So, like in Tribute to America, I have solo trumpet, both trumpet solos played by Al Strong, uh, you know, professional trumpet player, doing some big things right now in the Triangle area. He's playing those solos, so it's like still a solo trumpet playing that, and actually has ad lib on that trumpet part. So you can hear him kind of ad libbing because I didn't want it to be so rigid and overly structured. Um, and when I'm writing this, by the time I get to, I really use the words to follow the melodic lines and the harmonies that I used in it, and then how I felt for the symbolism. So like the bottom, the tuba line is actually a melody. Some I've always thought it's a bass line, but it's boom, 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 boom. It's actually the British for one of the British songs. So it was to symbolize like our freedom, like our foundation of our freedom was, leaving, getting we're getting uh away from the British. When we, were became 13 colonies and we became, the United States. So that was the foundation of our freedom, the start of our freedom. And I want to get us to the end. Of course, I have the trumpets, trumpet at the top, firing off. It sounds antiphonal, but the trumpets are, so it's more glorious and more fanfarish. And getting towards the end, all the way to the end with the harmonies, I just kept hearing to myself, "We are coming for you," and that's pretty much when at the end of one of these books, I still have that book. At the end of one of the Time Out magazine books, after it showed the photos, and you really wouldn't even see this in a magazine nowadays, but at the end of the book, it showed had some pictures of like some soldiers in America, like basically getting ready to go and deploy right after that event. So and I purposely go to 4/4 time at the end, and wanted to be creative on that and kind of display that emotion. So
A funny story I don't think a lot of people know. So my first year at Westover, we actually played this national anthem. All right.
mhm.
And I remember vividly my principal asking me, she asked if we could play a more traditional national anthem.
Mhm. Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's not.
Hey, bro.
It's not at all. Yeah.
Oh,
Bruh,
It's too.
I
It's
remember that
too.
like it was yesterday, man. I was
Yep.
like, huh?
Yeah. It's too. It's not. It's almost like Jimi Hendrix or Marvin Gaye. Or when I'm not saying my pieces like theirs, but those were people they were heavily criticized for their versions of that. Whitney Houston's entire the one that she did that I believe John Williams wrote, and the whole piece was in 4.
Yep.
But it didn't have the complex harmonies and the meaningfulness behind it. So but yeah, I didn't want to I didn't really want to take up an hour doing this, but I appreciate y'all coming out to do this. So I'll be doing more of this. Um and I'll get better with it. I tried to get this restream and the other streaming stuff to work right, and it didn't. So everything that I expected to fail did. So I don't have no choice but to do this now. So yeah, that's the big announcement. So I'll be doing more of this. I want to at some point, pull out one of your charts, man. Shoot, even if it's Ice Cream Man. Like, so why you change the first one to the second one? You know, you know, maybe to talk about that and what you did with it. So, but yeah, thank everybody for